want to play. So, I mean, as I said before, Diego said it as well, it's an on-field matter. And an on-field matter is my full responsibility. So we had a search and we decided to sign a coach, and we didn't hit what we really wanted to get out of that. But I think we also need to be clear, this is not pointing the finger at Olaf Melberg. I think there's coming a lot of more things into it. That's the players, that's the staff, that's myself as well. And we need to put our head together to find solutions. So I think that's for us the most important part, to not just look back now, point fingers, but to be clear that we have to pull that out of the bad situation together. And that's what we do with the current stuff.
Let me pass back to Bill.
Yeah, Diego Arlutz, with game 17 coming up against Portland, did Olaf indeed have a chance to speak to the players after his exit?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
And also, what is the mood / temperament of the overall squad of the players going into the second half of the season?
I would say that in these moments, the initial mood is always difficult. But the important thing is that difficult moment needs to last very little. And that's what we felt. So yesterday was Critchley's first training session. And of course, the evening of Tuesday with the news and the morning of Wednesday is naturally going to be difficult. We all wanted Olaf to succeed, and we all build relationships and genuinely like Olaf. So that's difficult. But this is a high-performing team that needs to be able to immediately switch and go into thinking about the next game, and go into thinking about it with desire and hope and positivity. And David grabbed the bull by the horns on the first training session, had the first meeting with players and coaching staff, of course with Lutz, and they pressed that reset button. Training was great, and we're now looking forward.
To any of you, Lutz or Diego, if David does a good job during his time as an interim, is there a chance for him to stay as a permanent coach? And the other question is, for the type of coaches that you're looking at for now, what type of profile are you looking for a coach that has MLS experience, a European coach again, South American coach? What type of profile are you guys looking for?
I start with the second question. I think the most important thing is that we stick with our style of play, with the philosophy. So MLS experience, of course, it's a very important part. But if you're looking right now through the market, what is available and what we're looking for in a playing style, there is not really that many coaches available right now which hit that. We need a coach who is able to have a good nose for player development. We have a good academy. We have a really good City 2 team. They play some exciting football. And we need to start to play more younger players. So to get also out on the transfer market, to go for younger players in, I think is extremely important. Communication skills, I believe, is something we need to. Good song. Communication skills when the phone rings, is extremely important today. So I think that's definitely something we also, and we need a coach who's active in the community. That's something which I believe St. Louis is a very tight-knit when it comes to soccer. Everybody's connected. So we need to get the guys out there. Our players are super active when it comes to that. The coach should do that as well. And the second part with David, David is now in charge. We don't have any timer on it. So in the end of the day, you want to win games. This is what we said. Winning is right now for us the most important thing. We have actually more than 17 games. We have 19 games left, which is more than half of the season, which is 57 points to play for. And if we get enough points, obviously we can't think now we have to make the playoffs right now. That would be not realistic. I think it's thinking now from game to game, get back into a flow, get back into a belief, get some confidence back. And I think David Critchley can do that. Diego said the bull in the horns, and that was something yesterday you really felt in the first team talk. You felt it on the training field as well, and you felt it also in the mood of the players that they haven't given up yet, and they're willing to push it through. So let's wait and see. He's coming in as a caretaker manager for now, and then we will be able to answer that question probably to a later point.
I would just like to emphasize 1 minute on that. We had very transparent and great conversations with David. And I think it's important that everyone feels that this is not a kind of an opportunity to apply pressure on him. Can you do it well enough to get the permanent head coach role? That is not the conversation. This is a developmental coach that we have had in our system for the last 4 or 5 years. He understands our style of play. He has coached many different teams. He's doing a terrific job. He has come down to help us. And if he goes back to City 2, that is success. He will continue developing as a head coach. Of course, anything can happen. But what I don't want, and we didn't want as we spoke to him, this was not a situation where he needs to say, if I don't make it to become a permanent head coach, that is a disappointment. That's not the case. We see this as a really big proof of our belief in him.
But Matt Baker.
Diego Lutz, this is the second head coach that you've had to dismiss in both your times. Both head coaches' dismissal comes on the heels of massive winless streaks with a vastly injured roster. You mentioned that you don't want to look back, but you want to look forward. I'm curious, after those dismissals and after last year's 5-month coaching search that led to the hiring of Olaf, how can you reassure fans that you're now going to make the right decision this time?
You know, in the end of the day, it's as we said before, it's tough. You know, 5 months is a really short term. So being now third in the league, having 2 head coaches is not what was the plan. Obviously, you know, that's the best is if you can keep a coach for many years. But we also have to be clear that if you're looking at the average time of an MLS head coach, that's 2 years. Coaches do not last extremely long in MLS. However, 5 months is not what we wanted. That's something which we definitely have to reflect. And yes, we need to go into a very similar search. As we said, the parameters, what we're looking for in a coach, they have not changed. You know, and I think this is important that we know how we want to be organized as a club, that we know what our roots are, what our values are, how we want to play football, how we want to entertain the fans. And I think entertaining the fans is very important. We always were known for a team who attacks. We were a high-pressing team, an entertaining team, a hard-working team. And I think this is what the people come into the stadium, what they want to see. So that's what we have to get back. And the search, well, the search will be pretty much similar to last time. But, you know, Matt, as you probably know, in other parts of life, when companies hiring people, you cannot always, you believe you find the perfect fit. But there is some things which sometimes just don't work out 100%. And we realized that. That's why we had to pull the plug in this moment of time. And that was not, again, anything personal regarding Olaf. That had to be, how do we ensure that we can turn the season around? How can we get back to the winning ways? We want to create a winning culture, and we want to be an exciting football team here. And I think that's what we owe the fans. And this is why we had to make this decision. But there is a lot of coaches out there. There will always coaches who will apply, and it's up to us that we get the next one right.
Matt Pacquiao.
Something that was mentioned both in the introductory press conference for Olaf and in your presser on Tuesday was acclimating to the MLS experience. Is there any internal examination of how you guys are handling certain of the MLS intricacies, considering maybe some of that threw off the last few months?
Yeah. If you look at the moment, what coaches out there with MLS experience, it's a very easy list actually to provide. And I think if we only look at MLS experience, but we do not hit the most important part of our search, which is the style of play and the philosophy, then it's a big room for mistake as well. So we are completely open. It doesn't matter if it's a European coach, if it's an American coach, or if it's a coach with MLS experience. It needs to be a fit for our philosophy. Otherwise, we coming again into the same situation that we say, well, we are not playing the way we want to play. So that is the most important part for us. So if we can find an MLS experienced coach which exactly play how we want to play, that's great. But it is something where you cannot just pump on MLS experience as the most important part of it.
But you talked before about having a lot of people in the building who do have that experience. Is there an examination of how you're maybe handling just some of the intricacies in-house already in the sporting office, and maybe how a better way to go forward, hitting this transfer window?
Yeah, I mean, we have coaches now. If you look at our whole coaching office, these are guys who are in-house basically since day one. Most of them were working in the academy. Lots of them were working in MLS Next Pro. So having a knowledge about how the league is run, how to travel, how to actually work out an MLS schedule, I don't think that it is rocket science. But of course, it helps if you have a coach who worked at this level for many, many years. You know, we have people in house who know that, and obviously we are a very, very tight group. We have open discussions about all of that. So I think I do not believe that we don't have enough people in house who have a long-term MLS experience. John Hackworth worked in there for many years. I'm here since 5 years. We have guys who worked along others for a long time. So I believe that we have that. And then again, is the coach out there with MLS experience? We will figure that out.
Yeah, and I would say we also haven't come to the conclusion that the fact that he didn't have MLS experience was a big driver of where we are.
Santi, did I see? If not, go back to Jacob.
In terms of wanting to play City SC's way, do you think the roster is constructed with the appropriate talent to play that way, including the non-starting 11 that have been forced to do 90 day in and day out because of injuries? Is the roster constructed with the talent that you need to play that way?
Yeah, I think you kind of answered your own question. When you have 7, 8 starters out, then it is very difficult to get 100% performance on the field. This is very normal. But we are not here to make excuses about injuries, because injuries happening to other teams as well. And we had to deal last year with injuries. Does it have an impact on results? Of course. Does it have to have an impact on playing style? I don't think so. I think if you have young guys out there or teams who are players who are not necessarily starters, they should be very able to get out there, work hard, and actually work within exactly how we want to play football. So I want to give you some numbers. We had last year, after the transfer period, we had 14 games, 6 wins, 4 draws, 4 losses, with exactly the same team, plus Timo Baumgartel and plus Konrad Wallem, who are 2 players who nearly start every single game. So we were right on play, of course. We would have started the season there. We played some entertaining football. We had 3 guys with Becher, with Teuchert and Hartl who had 30 goal contributions in 14 games. It was an MLS high in recent years. So do you think that our players overnight, they just forgot how to play football, or do they still have the same quality and the same talent they had last year?
Jacob.
You guys have mentioned that this is a result of not just Olaf, but everybody needs to be better in this aspect. Have you guys been able to talk to the players? And these are the guys that have been on the field through these early season struggles. What's your message to this roster, who's definitely in a slump to start the season?
Yeah, 100%. I said it before, it is not just Olaf Melberg at all. I mean, there is lots of other factors which coming in not to get the results. And the players are on the field. The players are the ones actually who have their on-field performances. So there is lots of talk. There is lots of discussions, and there also must be accountability. I think the players are very well aware that we're starting now at ground zero. They have to fight again for their starting positions, and we have to win games together. I think this is now a moment when players have to come together, and players need to know that things are not always went perfect with their performances as well. But I think that's a great moment, actually. Diego said it, to reset, to start to believe, also to start to believe each other, work hard on the training field, get back to basics, and most important, go out there on Saturday and start it with a win, because that can create momentum. I have a strong feeling that the players believe it. I have a very strong feeling that they believe in David Critchley, and I think that's the mindset, how we need to get forward, still reflect what went wrong, but start again to create a winning mentality.
Lutz Pfannenstiel and Diego Giuliani with City SC. Their press conference after the dismissal of Olaf Melberg is happening right now. So we'll see if things start to improve. They do have a game on Saturday, and hopefully it is on the way up from here. Bernie Miklas, Chris Ranji on the Gashouse Gang, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, Saliga Heating and Cooling.com. We're going to go away from soccer here for a moment because Colton Wong, former Cardinal, announced his retirement from the game of baseball, and Colton joins us next on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Here's a few questions for you from California Psychics. Do your workdays seem to go on forever? Is your career progression as fast as downtown traffic? Or does your boss still not know your name?
Hey, you, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay? It's Carrie, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
It's time to read the career warning signs and talk to California Psychics. We're always on hand to give you the career guidance you need. You see, we only connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. So you could soon be telling your boss where to stick that report.
Where are you going, Terry? Terry!
Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Not available in all states. Rates vary. Building a financial safety net for your family can be tough. But with term life insurance through Ethos, you can have peace of mind that they can pay the mortgage and other bills if something happens to you. With coverage in as little as 10 minutes, all online, Ethos finds your best rate across their multiple trusted carriers. Some policies as low as $1 a day billed monthly. And even in uncertain times, your term life insurance rates and payout don't change. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella Window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley telling you about i3 Broadband. You've heard me talk about them. They provide the internet in my home. I love them so much. The reliability is great. Let's talk about price for a moment, though. They've got an introductory rate at $19.99 a month for one of their service options. No bundle ever required. You're going to save $10 a month over the cable company. They've got great pricing on all of their different packages, going up to 8 gigs upload and download speed, always mirrored. See if they're available in your neighborhood. Put your address in at i3broadband.com.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Now, back to the Gashouse Gang on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals. 1120 AM, 1041 FM, KMOX.
Long caught the ball, kept that from dropping in and tying the game. What a grab by the Cardinals second baseman, who heaves the ball into the upper deck for a souvenir.
After an 11-year career in Major League Baseball, former Cardinals second baseman Kolten Wong has decided to retire from the game. And here on the Gashouse Gang, Bernie Miklasz, Chris Ranji on 104.1 FM KMOX, we welcome in Kolten Wong, who joins us on the show this afternoon. Kolten, first of all, congratulations on a really good career in the major leagues, and also thank you for being with us today.
Hey, aloha, guys. Yeah, I mean, thank you. Thank you for having me on, man. And, it was obviously, 7 amazing years in St. Louis that I'll never forget. And, just a awesome ending for, a career I never thought I'd ever have, only dreamed of. So super humbled.
Kolten Wong, Bernie Miklasz here. Listen, I did a thing a while back. I picked the all Bill DeWitt team, which means he bought the team in 1996. So I picked an all DeWitt team from 1996 through 2024. I picked you as the starting second baseman. I mean, you were so great defensively, and you were an underrated hitter once you got things going, and you were part of some really successful teams. How much, looking back, do you savor all that you were able to do in St. Louis? And it wasn't always easy for you, but you persevered.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. But, I mean, obviously, I think, baseball was never hard for me until I got to the big leagues, and it was one of those things where it really surprised me when I got there. And it was one of the things, I mean, obviously, I hit ground bottom right away getting picked off in 2013, so it was a lot of uphill battles and grinds and figuring out how to dig myself out of that hole that I created. But, through that hole, man, I learned so much about myself, about being the person that I am today, about, just my game in general, of how it evolved was because of that incident of getting picked off, it just a lot of cool things that I'll be able to take with me for the rest of my life and apply it to life. But yeah, thank you, man. Obviously there's a lot of great second basemen that came before me, and, that's a really cool, I guess, selection, to be a part of. So I appreciate it.
It's interesting you mentioned that pickoff and that you were able to use it as motivation. How long did it take you to be able to get there? Because I would imagine that was really tough to deal with at the moment.
Yeah, honestly, that wasn't even the toughest thing I was dealing with at the moment, though. I mean? I literally knew that I was about to lose my mom, that, at any point. She was, in the decline of her health, and we knew that the cancer was kind of, winning its course. So, I was worried about that, had that kind of going on my mind. Then I get called up, and the excitement's there, but I'm also just worried about my mom at the same time, and then the World Series happens and all this, and I'm trying to just lock it in, trying to enjoy it, but I'm also getting pulled back knowing that my mom, could be gone any day. So it was one of those things where it wasn't really about the game, it was more about life, and, show me that after the pickoff, life is definitely more important than anything that this game could offer, regardless of the situation. Losing my mom hurt way more than getting picked off.
No doubt about it. And I know you were going through a hard time, and you handled it beautifully considering the circumstances. Kolten Wong, what are you most proud of in St. Louis? Is it your defense? I mean, you won 2 Gold Gloves. You should have won at least one more, maybe 2. In your years as a starter, 2014 through 2020, you led all Major League second basemen in defensive runs saved. Were you always that good defensively, or did you even get better in the Major League? But what are you the most proud of?
Honestly, just being a part of a winning organization. I think after leaving St. Louis, obviously I got a good opportunity to be with the Brewers, and, we continued, going to the playoffs or whatnot. But, just seeing other teams and other guys that I played with, towards the end of my career, and guys just, not even knowing what the playoffs was like, for me, that was an expectation, and the Cardinals organization from the get-go, made it clear that was it. And, those times that I had in St. Louis, man, it was magical. Just being a part of those teams and and learning from the veterans that I got to learn from, and just soaking in, the winning culture that St. Louis was pushing at the time. It was cool, man. It definitely made me know every single year, like, I don't plan on coming home in October. I plan on coming home towards the end of the year. I wanted to make sure that I was playing as long as possible, and we were shooting for that World Series. So that was definitely a big thing. But I think, the defense kind of came along with that, to understand that if I wanted to be a Cardinal for as long as I did, I needed to kind of clean some stuff up, and defense was definitely number one. I came up as a hitter in college, and that was kind of the main thing. And I remember when I first got drafted, Jose Oquendo came to me, he goes, "Hey, I know you can play this game, but I want you to win me a Gold Glove." And I took that super serious. That was the main thing for me. So I remember being in Loa with Johnny Rodriguez, the manager at the time, and we're talking about defense, and I'm going out every single day right before games, and it's the middle of summer, and we're dying out there. And he comes to me, he goes, "Hey, man, you want to take a day off?" I'm like, "No, like I want to get better. I want to figure this out." I know that in order for me to get to the next level, that's going to have to be part of my game. I'm not somebody who's going to hit you 30 plus homers or any of that stuff, but I know I can play this game really well. So that was the thing that I really pride myself on, was being part of the organization and taking my job serious so that I could continue to put a good product on for the fans and the people.
You come into the big leagues in 2013, and it took 6 years before you finally win that Gold Glove. Along the way, did it feel like you were getting there? Did you feel each year like you were making some real progress toward that?
Yeah, I think obviously from 2013 to about 2015 was a struggle for me. It was just trying to figure out my identity as a player, trying to figure out how to, I guess, earn my way into that comfort zone. And I think kind of around that point is when I started figuring out, just learning from some of the guys that I was playing with, and realizing that pickoff wasn't so bad. And my mom is watching, me right now from above and getting the best view. And I just kind of, was able to breathe, I think, after a couple of years. Just realized that I know I'm good enough. I know I can play this game, and it's just about enjoying it. So I was always hard on myself. And, I think after that 2016 season, I just told myself that, man, if I could weather that storm, there's no storm I can't handle.
Yeah, Colton, I apologize. I'm going to read you some more numbers because I watched you evolve as a hitter. And in 2019, you put together one heck of a year. You hit 285, you slugged over 400, you had 25 doubles, 4 triples, 11 homers, you stole 24 bases, drove in 60 runs. And I'm thinking from the time, we first saw you in St. Louis and, all the way through that in that 2009 season where you put all of it together, including the defense. What did it take for you to get to that stage where you could have such an outstanding offensive season like that?
Yeah, I think it was finally like being a realist for myself and understanding, who I am as a player and as a hitter and all that stuff. I think as a young kid, when you first get to the big leagues, you want to make a splash. You want to be that special player that, hits those home runs and has those crazy years. And, until you realize, who you are, I think that's the hardest thing because the big leagues is so tough. You just want to be on ESPN all the time. You want to be on the replays and whatnot, and you forget that at the end of the day, the biggest thing is consistency. Showing up every day, having the same game, having the same mentality, having guys believe in me, knowing that I'm going to give them the same product every single day. That was the biggest thing for me. And once I understood that, I think that's when everything started coming together. And you've seen the 2019 and then 2020 obviously stunk. But, I went to Milwaukee in 21 and 22, and it was just, 2 really good years for me there too. And I felt like, the fortunate thing was I really hoped that it was going to be in St. Louis. I wanted to be a lifelong Cardinal, and that was always the number one goal. And, when that didn't happen, obviously, I felt like Milwaukee was the best fit for me. And, yeah, man, it was just, I think just me really understanding who I was. That's a hard thing for a lot of kids to really grasp.
Yeah, I mean, playing here for the Cardinals for the majority of your career, then with the Brewers, you play a bit with Seattle and the Dodgers as well. What was the differences in each of those places? Were they noticeable playing in each one? We like to talk about St. Louis, what a great baseball environment is, and a lot of players say the same thing. Did you feel the same?
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, I would have changed my career and how I'd set up for anything. I think St. Louis was amazing for me. as a young kid when I first got there, it kind of showed me how to create a winning routine. How to get ready for a big league game, a big league season. Learning from guys like Matt Holliday, Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright, all these guys that were just so iconic to me growing up. I got a chance to learn firsthand from all these guys, and yeah, man, I think that was the biggest thing in St. Louis. Milwaukee was really good for me too because it allowed me to be free. They're a little more of a laid back culture on that side. They're more new school than St. Louis, I guess, when it comes to all that stuff. So, I was at a point in my career where I kind of knew who I was. I knew what I was coming off, the years that I was coming off. So I knew how to get myself ready. I didn't kind of need anybody to really walk me through. And that was a big step for me, just, taking that step as a player and knowing, what it takes to get ready for a game, because that is the biggest thing I learned at the big league level is you have to have a routine that you believe in and that that is going to be with you every single day, because at the end of the day, you can only tie your confidence to your routine. So knowing and creating a routine that felt good to me, that I felt like every day I was stepping on the field, was huge. And then Seattle was a tough one. I literally had the birth of my second son literally 5 days before we broke spring training, so I didn't see my son for the first month of his life. And then, unfortunately, my oldest son was getting anaphylactic shocks when we were there, so I was in and out of the hospital nonstop. So that was, it was a mess in Seattle. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was environmental or the house or whatnot, but yeah, he was in and out of the hospital literally, man, I would say about 5 to 6 times that time when I was in Seattle before I got DFA'd. So, mentally and physically, I just was not there for that. But LA was, I would say the whole thing. I would say the whole thing in LA was probably either, in line with St. Louis or, I just loved my time in LA. I learned so much from the guys there, so much from how they ran their things to the analytics side and how they put it together with the coaches. And I think that was the biggest thing was, a lot of people get lost in analytics, and I feel like the Dodgers had a good feel of, combining the analytics with a lot of really good coaching and a really good staff, and it just felt right there.
Yeah, and that sounds like what the Cardinals are trying to do now as they're moving towards a transition where Chaim Bloom takes over next season. But I wanted to go back in time a little bit. I hope you realize, and I'm pretty sure you do, how much Cardinals fans loved you and how popular you were because of your style. And hey, man, it's not like you asked to leave St. Louis. You had no choice, and Milwaukee was a great fit for you. But I remember when you came back as a Brewer, man. Cardinals fans, they showed you a lot of love. What did that mean to you?
Oh, it meant everything. Obviously, it's a funny story because when I signed that deal with Milwaukee, I remember telling everybody, I literally sat in my bed that night and just cried. It was just I think as a player, when you're coming up, you see guys like Yadi and you see guys like Waino, and you want to be that next, I guess, crew of guys coming in, to be lifelong Cardinals and whatnot. So it was kind of like a big letdown for me knowing that I was so close to falling in their footsteps. And, but then again, I think you got to also look at it from a different standpoint too. Milwaukee showed me a lot about being a man and being my own individual, which, was huge for me. It really allowed me to take that next step of being a player and learning what makes me successful. So, yeah, I think, I can't thank St. Louis enough for all the love and support they've given me over the years. It's, even to this day, I still am just very grateful for my time there, knowing that, I played in front of those fans and they appreciated me for how hard I played, not for, really the analytics that I put up. That was the coolest thing because I was never a guy who had high exit velo or, it was super fast or any of these things, but all I wanted to do was play hard, and I think they appreciated it. And, that was the coolest thing about it.
Talking with Colton Wong, and, Colton, most guys, when they have a good long career in the major leagues like you did, they accumulate enough money and they think, I'm going to go live somewhere nice. I'll go to Hawaii. You just got to go back home. You just got to go back home to Hawaii and live there. So how is being home for you now permanently and getting to enjoy it all?
Yeah, it's really cool, man. Obviously having my 2 boys with me is just icing on the cake. Seeing them grow up where I grew up and, just being around, man, I haven't been back in Hawaii in the summertime since I was 15 years old, so I came back and just soaking up the beaches and the good weather. Because usually when you come back to Hawaii in the wintertime, the water is usually pretty rough and it's usually raining pretty much 70% of the time. So, it's just been cool to see the different things and honestly just to be there with my boys. Obviously to have the career that I had and create, whatever I did on the field, all that is amazing. But to do it and to still have time to be there and be present with my boys is the biggest thing.
Well, Colton Wong, we're really happy that you gave us some time to talk about this. We congratulate you on a really good major league career, 2-time Gold Glover, and a St. Louis favorite. We thank you so much, and we just want you to enjoy your retirement. Maybe we might bother you another time or two just to check in, if that's all right.
Absolutely. You guys are more than welcome to call me anytime, man. I'll be on Hawaii time, so I'll be relaxing.
Perfect.
It'll be all good.
Awesome.
Thank you, Colton.
All right, guys. Thank you, guys.
That is Colton Wong. Man, you nailed it, Bernie. Fan favorite. They loved the way he played, how hard he played, and he had the right attitude about it the entire time.
Yeah, and listen, I'm just going to say this right now. Like, and I researched this all very carefully, as you know me. Like, I picked him to be the first team second baseman during the DeWitt era because he played the most second base of anybody during that time. Second base sort of became a shuttle with a lot of different guys. And he was a really good second baseman, really, really good second baseman. And he personified a lot of the qualities of those great Cardinals teams. And I really believe he will have a better shot at being selected to the Cardinals Hall of Fame than maybe people realize. Because when you're the best second baseman a team has had over a 30-year period, I mean, what else do you really have to say? Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. They plugged in Matt Carpenter for a while, and he put up some big numbers. Brendan Donovan looks great there now. I mean, Fernando Vina was very good.
Yep.
But in terms of a starter, a continuous starter from 2014 through 2020, he did it all. I mean, he was a really good player, and we saw him grow up in front of us, which is always a cool thing to watch.
Bernie Miklas, as we hit the break, why don't you tell everybody about our friends at Saliga?
Be happy to. Saliga Heating and Cooling is a Dicon comfort dealer, and they've been taking care of St. Louis since 1927. And wow, they've been taking care of us for about 16, 17 years. And I can testify the Saliga family, which still owns it. Dan Saliga, my friend, he's the fourth owner, operator of this family business. Man, the standards are impeccable. I mean, you talk about honesty, trustworthiness, prompt service, attention to detail, knowledge of what they're doing, the fact that they will find cheaper solutions that will work for you rather than try to hustle you on something. Their service is prompt. I mean, they check every box. And you got to love the Saliga name. It's a family-owned business, almost 100 years. And boy, that just has to mean a lot more because family businesses are really special. So if you need anything at all, and take a look at the Priority Club, it's a maintenance program that's going to save you money because it'll help you keep your equipment in place and lasting longer, which saves money. Take a look at that. Go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. If you want the phone number, it's 314-481-7333. Saliga Heating and Cooling.
When we started Neovite back in 2009, we wanted to create a multivitamin that we would take ourselves. That's why we use quality ingredients in our Neovite Original Formula multivitamin. With over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our physician-formulated proprietary blend, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neovite Original Formula multivitamin a try for yourself. Find it at your local Schnucks, Deerbergs, and online at neovite.com.
Cloudy in St. Louis. We are at the high of 71. The low tonight will be 57 degrees.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan of McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Homeowners, spring is here and there's no better time to sell your St. Louis home. But the agent you choose matters. So who should you call? Trusted Realtor Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. This is Debbie Monterey, and here's why Gloria should be your first call. While the average realtor puts a sign in your yard and hopes your home sells, Gloria will guarantee to sell your home for 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference. In this market, you don't want to risk working with someone who doesn't have the guarantees, the buyers, or the experience to help you sell within your time frame and for the most money. Many realtors will overprice your home just to get your business, which can lead to your home sitting on the market with little or no offers and then price reductions. If you want to sell your home for 100% of market value or have Gloria pay you the difference, call Gloria Lou at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Cardinal Cowboy here. Years ago, doctors said I'd never be independent after a bad car accident. Well, I proved them wrong. When proving who's the best in garage doors, Renner does it every time. Whether it's service or a new door, you're covered with top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Keep your garage door running strong with Renner's $100 maintenance check, or get a free replacement quote. Call or click RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler for Supplement Superstores. And look, I've been a customer of theirs since 2013, and there's a reason for that. Supplement Superstores is the best. They are always on the cutting edge of science, so when they find better products, that's what they work with. And they also have the best people. All of the employees at Supplement Superstores are certified sports nutrition specialists and personal trainers. So they'll work with you to build a simple eating plan and workout routine that fit your goals. And by the way, they do that for free. So to find your Supplement Superstores location and get started down your path to success, go to supplementsuperstores.com.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
I had heard about 3-day kitchen and bath. I kind of always dismissed it thinking, well, nobody can do that in 3 days. I wanted somebody who was going to come when they said they would come and, do what they said they were going to do. What I liked best was having it done in, less than a week, the whole thing from top to bottom. Nobody could believe that I really had it done that fast. They absolutely held up to every single thing that they agreed to. I especially loved the fact that I didn't have to go out all over town. The overall quality was very good. All the workmanship was so excellent. They'll definitely do exactly what they say they're going to do. There's no surprises, no added costs later. They stay until everything's exactly the way you want it, and you're done.
Thanks, Lori. Check us out online at 3daykitchen.com.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gashouse Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Matt checking in on YouTube said the interview was a good reminder of what La Russa used to say, men, not machines. Glad Colton Wong is doing well. We just had a chance to speak with the Cardinals' former second baseman who announced his retirement. And Bernie, I think Matt said it there, and I was talking to our producer, Matt Pajeski, off the air, that he just he seems to get it. And I know there were some times where maybe he wasn't quite as happy with playing time or recognition or whatever it might be, but I think the guy knew what he was supposed to do to be as good as he could possibly be as a player.
I really felt bad for him in his early years. And listen, I always hate to sort of go back and be critical of a manager or whatever, but the Cardinals had high hopes for Colton Wong, and it took Mike Matheny a long time to believe in Colton Wong. I mean, Mike Matheny was always benching him. Like, he'd have a bad few games and he'd be on the bench and he's not playing. And John Mozeliak had to intervene several times by sending Wong to the minors because he wanted him to play, and Matheny wouldn't play him. So he did not have it easy. I mean, it was a demoralizing number of episodes, and I thought he showed great character and just a real intensity in terms of he's determined to overcome everything. And he did it. I mean, he was a heck of a player for the Cardinals once the manager at the time, trusted him to play. They got the results they wanted. They could have been getting them sooner.
That's Bernie Miklas. I'm Chris Ranji. We had sort of an abbreviated show today because of the press conference with City SC discussing the termination of Olaf Melberg as head coach, and they have moved on from that. So we'll see if City's on the right trajectory, Bernie. I don't know. We hope. They've got a lot of season left to go. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, let me just say I'm not real confident at this point, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Who knows?
Hey, we'll do it again next week, Bernie. Good to see you
Thank you,
again.
brother.
That is Bernie
Thank you,
Miklasz. Anything you missed on the Odyssey app, it'll be there for you. Just search out Gashouse Gang. The interview with Colton Wong is there. It's also going to be on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Have a great rest of your day. Gashouse Gang is back tomorrow at 12 o'clock with Mike Claiborne and me on 104.1 FM KMOX. The Dave Glover Show is next.